Anxiety is not the problem. Anxieties are the alarm bells going off in your body that's just notifying you of the problem.
If you don't have somebody that you could call at 3 a.m, it's going to create anxiety.
Yes.
And that's one.
And that's what we're talking about here is community. Like if you don't have somebody in your life, get closer to the people that will respond to that. You do need that in your life. You need to be that for somebody in your life. Mm-hmm. And it's going to, like that community, that bond, that brotherhood is going to relieve some anxiety. Mm-hmm. We need to understand that. Mm-hmm. God doesn't want us to have anxious lives. That's not his purpose. That's not his design. He's asking you to give them to him.
And the word picture is awesome. As a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. It's like he's going to tear your arms off and tear your legs off and tear your head off. Mm. And he's like, it is brutal. But when you cross that line and vulnerability and open up that other layer, you're lightening another man's yoke. You're lightening another person's yoke so much.
Man was created for a purpose, often a greater purpose than he can see in himself. The trials and difficult experiences a man goes through are for his benefit and for that purpose. A dull axe is useless, though an axe being sharpened is a grueling, violent, and uncomfortable process. A sharp axe is undeniable in its purpose. A man with a spirit-filled heart and mind is also undeniable. A kingdom warrior after God's own heart. But how do we get there? God uses trials and fire to shape a man. Life is God's foundry. It's where a man is individually crafted to complete God's mission. Join us as we seek out the fruit forged in God's own foundry.
Hey guys, just so you know, you can find us on all the different platforms. You know, we're on Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, Discord, X, and as well as Spotify and all the other podcasts platforms that are out there. And so feel free to tune in on any of them, like, share, comment. Like we've said, please read. We read all of your guys' comments, and we'd like to be able to answer questions you might have. So feel free to throw that out there for us. And again, it's such an honor to have you guys tuning in and listening like you are.
Everybody's got a story. Everybody's got a gift. Everybody's got a way to speak that other people need to hear. So if you have something that you feel like you need to share or want to talk about, send it out there. We'd be happy to respond to it.
Yeah, and we're always looking for interviews too. People that got unique, interesting stories, which is everybody that's listening.
Yeah.
So it's not, everybody's got a story to tell, and so we'd love to give people an opportunity to tell their story. So thank you guys.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Fruits of the Foundry podcast. Kind of have a hiccup in our rhythm of life, but really it's just the rhythm of life. Jake's on the road this week, so as we normally would, we still continue our mornings, still continue our rhythm, and we got James here with us. This is the third podcast we're recording with James. Not one of them has aired yet. By the time you see this one, you probably have listened to two of them, but James is sitting here wondering why he's recording his third podcast, and we haven't even used one of them yet.
I'll take all the outtakes. It's fine.
You take the what?
I'll record all the outtakes. Yeah. That's fine.
I just line those up at the end. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
One after the other. All those bloopers.
A flood of James.
Yeah.
But as we've said in the past podcasts that haven't come out, James is just another one of our brothers who's with us on a daily basis, battles with us on a daily basis. He's an awesome inspiration to me. Just a guy that shows up. I mean, he's one of the guys that we could call at any point. He's going to drop what he's doing. He's going to come show up and on fire for Christ, a true disciple of Christ. Everything he does on a daily basis, you can see it in his business. You can see it in his family. He's just awesome to have around. So he's part of our daily life, and we love having him. So thanks for being on again.
Thanks, Dan.
And we're continuing 1 Peter 5. Todd's message on Sunday really hit me. He's John 18 is where he was, and he's talking about Peter, and really talking about Jesus. But the message I got was like, man, are you are you John 18 Peter or are you First Peter?
Mm-hmm.
Like Peter was very, I don't know if boastful is the right term to use. He's just on fire. Like he was telling Jesus, like, I got your back. You know, he physically defended Jesus when he took his sword out, cut off the high priest's ear, and then not long he's turning away. You know, and
right to denial.
And I just have this fear, like that's my John 18 Peter, am I First Peter 5 Peter? Like,
I think we transition back and forth.
Yeah, it's a scary thought.
And the beautiful thing is God sees us as we will be, not as we are now.
Thank goodness.
Yeah. And I think we need to see that in others and ourselves.
Yeah. And it's good to have other brothers standing next to you, like holding you accountable.
Yeah.
So 1 Peter 5, it's a shorter chapter. We'll just read through that real quick. It says, so I exhort the elders among you as a fellow elder and a witness of the sufferings of Christ, as well as a partaker in the glory that is going to be revealed. Shepherd the flock of God that it is among you. Exercise oversight, not under compulsion, but willingly, as God would have you, not for shameful gain, but eagerly, not domineering over those in your charge, but being examples to the flock. And when the chief of shepherd appears, you will receive an unfading crown of glory. Likewise, you who are younger, be subject to the elders. Clothe yourselves, all of you, with humility toward one another. For God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. Humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of God, so that at a proper time he may exalt you, casting all your anxieties on him, because he cares for you. Be sober-minded, be watchful. Your adversary, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour. Resist him, firm in your faith, knowing that the same kinds of suffering are being experienced by your brothers throughout the world. And after you have suffered a little while, the God of all grace, who has called you to his eternal glory in Christ, will himself restore, confirm, strengthen, and establish you. To him be the dominion forever and ever. Amen. And just the final greeting, it says, by Silvanus, a faithful brother as I regard him, I have written briefly to you, exhorting and declaring that this is the true grace of God. Stand firm in it. She who is at Babylon, who is likewise chosen, sends you greetings, and so does Mark, my son. Greet one another with a kiss of love. Peace to all of you who are in Christ. And discussion before the podcast. Was it you, James, that brought up like the shameful gain piece, or was that Jonathan? You were reading out of this.
Well, I was just talking about the transactional piece of it.
Yeah.
So much of our interactions with people and with God is transactional.
Yeah, and you think because you're a Christian, like you're deserving of something.
Right. And God doesn't want that. He wants you to do it out of love and just serving him.
Yeah, we were talking about the verse, where is it? Verse 6, therefore humble yourselves under the mighty hand of God that he may exalt you in due time. And our discussion was just revolving around that verse and what does that mean and what is due time?
Right. Yeah. Like we want this immediate turnaround, right? Like we think we deserve something, we've earned something. You know, that's, and we were talking about like America's view of Christianity because it has become so transactional. I feel like I see it in my own life. We were talking about this with Bobby Turner a little bit, like, and Sean Ryan's brought this up on his podcast a few times. Like once you become a Christian, you feel like things are supposed to become easier, but instead, like now you have all these anxieties and these worries and these fears that you didn't have before you were a Christian. But what happens is as soon as you start following Christ, you've created an enemy in the devil. And now you have an enemy. Now you have a battle to fight. We were talking about like as you get deeper into Christianity, you get a little bit farther removed from the human perspective of things. Mm-hmm. You realize the spirituality of things a little bit more. Like you are in a battle, not against flesh and blood. But our human mind, you know, we read these verses. so that you may be exalted. A little further on, it talks about being restored, confirmed, strengthened. Like we feel like, okay, I'm serving Christ. Let the good times roll, right? Like,
We've talked before as a group, just of men, about the battles that we fight, and if we're not fighting spiritual battles, where really are we at in our faith? Are we in the trenches where we should be?
Yeah.
Just battling through the struggles. If the devil's not coming after us, is it because we're on our heels? We're being lax in our practices, in our routines. I think Jake talks about that quite a bit.
And it's like Peter talks about the sufferings and just our human nature when we think about sufferings. Like no part of that's fun, whether that's a physical suffering, whether that's a mental suffering. But earlier this week, my wife and I, we were kind of at odds with one another, having some hard discussions. And it's been a tough week. We lost a family pet, and we've been just super busy. Had a lot of family in and out of town, and just Lindsay and I have not had the good connection. So we're at odds. And that's what came to me. It's like, this is the suffering. Like, I am not dying to myself right now. Like I feel selfish. Like I have this selfish motive right now. Like, what about me? I've been working hard. I think us guys do that. We're slaving away. We're working, providing for our families, but that's not at all what they want. I mean, they need it, right? It's a need, but God will fulfill our needs. But it's dying to ourselves is the suffering. And when you're at odds with your wife, or those are the sufferings. Like, it's a heartache, right?
Yeah.
And like it's the daily dying to ourselves.
And it's so easy to get, you're talking about that, and I just feel the exact same. Like we'll feel like we're giving of ourselves all week, and then we can just go home and expect our wives to understand that. And so we don't have to pour into them, and we don't have to pour into our kids. They should just exalt us because we worked all week. We've been slaving away. It doesn't matter. We've worked 10, 12-hour days, and we should be able to go home, but it's not. It's constant keeping your mind in check and returning to just a servant heart. How can I serve my wife? How can I?
Well, and Chris and I were just talking about this last night. We're having the same discussions as you guys. We're talking about the suffering of just being home with the kids and just she's with them all day, and I'm out working, so I'm not helping her. And then we're watching this documentary, Sheep Among Wolves, about people that are out in Muslim countries. Literally, they have to meet in a soundproof room and then read their Bibles quietly together. And the level of suffering that they have is completely different level. The suffering we have actually does not exist compared to because obviously they have kids, they have their own things with that, but like they don't worry about somebody breaking into their house and hurting them badly because of their faith. Yeah. And I think that is what Peter's talking about here. And what was so great about Todd's sermon on Sunday is he connected. Peter didn't factor in that he had to suffer for Christ, which is why he was like, these guys will arrest you, Jesus? Absolutely not on my watch. Yeah. You do not have to suffer for these guys. I'll cut off his ear. And you think about cutting off somebody's ear, like you're not aiming for the ear. You're aiming like a mortal blow. And how often is that our response as men? Like, we're going to protect our people so they don't have to suffer. God's actually calling us into suffering. Peter here is saying, expect the suffering, just like everybody else, all your other brothers are around the world. It's a norm.
Yeah. And I think it's good to, call it out from a human perspective and say, like, when we're in those moments of suffering, the battles, like it's hard. And you just look at our human lives on this earth. Like it sucks. We're never going to quote unquote make it on this earth. Or arrive. Our marriages are never going to be spotless. Our parenting styles, the relationships with our kids are never going to be spotless. Like we're going to have moments We're going to have high points. But this life is a grind. This life sucks. Now that sounds dark, like there's no hope, right? But that's not the case either. Like Christ has already won that battle.
Yep.
And I think when the disciples are walking with Jesus and Peter here, like they thought Jesus was going to come and he was going to overthrow the Roman Empire. Life was going to be good again. And I think we still have that mindset. Like, okay, now I'm serving Christ. Life's going to be good here.
Yeah.
We're never going to have this easy road. Like we talked about, the deeper you go, the more battles there seem to fight. You find battles that you've never even thought about. And I've been reading this book by John Eldridge, and he talks about like our human nature just desires this need to want to go back to how things used to be. And I've had some conversations this last week, like also think about like fresh starts, like in relationships or marriage or whatever it is. Like we can't just cast all those things away, because if we did, we wouldn't be the individual we are. We wouldn't have gone through those growth pains, these battles, these reshaping experiences that God's put us through. If we go back to the way things used to be, we would also be the person that we used to be. We wouldn't have this understanding that we do now. We need those things. But when we're in the battle, in the grind, like it's hard to want that for the good of what's going to come of it. Christ knows.
Yep.
When we think about parenting our children, like we withhold things from them because we know it's good for them. Mm-hmm. We discipline them because we know it's good for them. We all have teenage boys. Like we're trying to teach them what responsibility looks like, what ownership looks like, what
technology guardrails look like.
Yeah. All the guardrails, right? Like that we have to set for our children because we know what's good for them. Well, the Lord is doing the same for us. And it's necessary.
Yeah.
But our human minds struggle with seeing the broader perspective.
Yeah.
And being thankful for the battle.
And the constant stream of information that we get all the time. And I'm sure you guys have brought it up a dozen times, just what we see in the glimpses in social media is all these glamorous things in other people's lives where you don't see them struggling with their wife all week.
Yeah.
Nobody posts on Facebook, here's what I'm suffering through today.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Right. But that's where community is so important. That's what I want to, I do want to make a
deep community.
Yeah. I've talked to multiple people this week that they've said it, they realize they're isolated, and we're going to talk about, the devil a little bit later on, how he prowls around like a roaring lion. That's step one, is isolation. Get you away from other people.
Who does the lion go after?
Right.
The one that's isolated from the herd.
It's very necessary. And we have a lot of a close knit group of guys that are pretty vulnerable, but I think there's still need to be more vulnerable. Like iron sharpens iron. Like
there's layers to it.
There's layers to it. Yes. Like you get to one layer and then you don't even realize that there's another layer needed of being sharpened. And you just go through these, what seems to be cycles that are constant, and another need of sharpening. And I want to encourage people, like you can be married for 20 years and then hit a battle that seems like it's going to end your marriage. Mm-hmm. Like just be patient. The goal is not to fix it today.
Yep.
The goal is, in marriage, the goal is 60, 70 years. Our goal here in this life on this earth is eternity. It's not to make it here on this earth.
Right.
We have to go through these pains. We have to go through these struggles. Bobby brought it up in the last podcast. I forget what she said, but she read a book about marrying the wrong spouse for you. Do you remember what it was, John?
Yeah, it's like the wrong spouse, but who you needed or something.
Yes, it's
like
who
that.
you need. It's who's going to bring you through that.
Yeah.
The battles of this life. It's a hard thing for our human minds to understand the suffering. Again, even in something like marriage, there's a million different scenarios we can go through, but it is the growing of who God wants you to be. It's the pulling away of the human nature. It's a painful process.
Yeah. Well, even on, we meet on Saturdays, and one of the guys, John, was saying how he's shaking hands with the suffering, like he's decided to shake hands with it. And I think I heard somebody else say, when you turn away from your suffering, that's where bitterness comes in, the isolation, addictions. You have to go through that suffering. You have to shake hands with it, engage with it. This could be a relationship with your wife.
Yeah.
It could be, going to the Middle East and preaching to people and dealing with the dangers there, like whatever God's called you to. And, Chris and I were even talking like, what a mission field we have right here in America. That's so hard. Am I taking advantage of the freedoms I have to just talk to somebody about it? Like, no, I don't.
Yeah.
But people in the Middle East will, and they don't have the freedom to it.
That song with the Casting Crowns is like, we send our missionaries overseas, but what about right here? What about right now? What about our own streets?
What about your neighbor? Yeah.
Yeah.
Part of the intentional father thing I'm going through is dealing with childhood wounds, like digging through your childhood. And I was talking with another strong man of God Tuesday morning rucking, and just talking. He's like, "That's cool. I'm doing the same thing. Just digging through your childhood and I'm doing this exercise where you just plot all your highs and lows, and then you need to identify how that made you, what your reaction was to it, and now what you might still identify from that. And if it's a low, it might be a similar way that you're going to wound your kids, because you're doing this certain pattern of behavior to try to protect yourself from this hurt that you had."
It's so real. Like everybody has that in their life. And it's not like, I think you do need to identify those things, not as like a victim mentality, but, and to point as a reason, as an excuse.
Yeah.
But to understand.
It's reflecting on that suffering, lean into it and figure out.
Just make I think sometimes we look back at what happened to us or how we handled something, and we have so much shame.
Yeah.
But it's like, now imagine yourself as just imagine an 8-year-old kid that's not you dealing with that same situation. You'd have so much grace and sympathy and empathy for that kid. Like, it's not fair that he went through that, not fair that he had to deal with that, but you don't have that same grace for yourself. You have the shame or whatever. And then if you don't address it, now you're parenting out of that, either doing the same thing with your kids or doing the exact opposite thing in an unhealthy way. But you have to deal with it.
Yeah.
I just want to move back. I didn't want to lose this before.
Yeah.
We were talking about having community here, and I like this, how it ties into verse 2. Shepherd the flock of God, which is among you, serving as overseers, not by compulsion, but willingly, not for dishonest gain, but eagerly. And I feel that feeds into our community. I get strengthened by you guys Thursday mornings. It's awesome. I really look forward to Thursday mornings and just the conversations we have. And it allows me to go encourage people, draw people in throughout my week. It really builds me up.
Yeah.
And I think just having a community, not isolating, is so feeding to my heart and soul. People keep telling me that I'm like an energizer. All that. I don't feel that way. Like, I'm just trying to encourage people to just partake in this amazing group that focuses on Christ.
Yeah. And I think that's where like showing up and intentionality is so important. And when people don't realize, number one, it is good for you to continue to show up and to be intentional. But I don't think people are aware of how encouraging it is to other people. Like when you show up to church and you see another individual there that you love, like when them just walking in the door can brighten a room, maybe not from their perspective, but when I see some people walking, I'm like, oh man, awesome. Or just these mornings, like it's hard sometimes to show up, but when you show up, like come around the corner and you're like, oh, Sullivan's car's here, Harzor's car's here. Like, it's like, here we go.
And notice that it doesn't put it all on your pastor. Like, I think some people are like, well, my pastor's my shepherd. He's like, and like, no, we each have spheres of influence that God has given us. Some are bigger, some are smaller, but they're all our what God has given us.
Yep.
And we need to shepherd them well.
Yep.
It could just be your kids, but it could be people at work. Could be this group that we run with on Thursdays,
Right.
whatever.
And a shepherd isn't somebody who, Pastor Joby Martin says, shepherds are wolf slayers. Like they're not somebody standing inside the fold in this nice, warm, cozy, protected area.
Yeah.
Shepherds are out doing battle.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
We can build up our pastor just the same way.
Right.
We could strengthen and encourage him, and
Yep. And they need it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love what you said though, man. I get so excited, and it ebbs and flows, but to see certain men come in, I've been stoked about a gentleman that just started coming rucking into Bible study, just super stoked.
Yeah.
And it's just an awesome feeling to see somebody that's excited and willing to come and be vulnerable.
Dude, I don't know where I would be if it wasn't for people taking their first steps in faith. Like I would say I've been a Christian my whole life. Obviously my walk's straight and come back, and it's, it's like a ship. It's not perfect. But when you see somebody taking initial steps in faith,
Yep.
I see the work of God in another individual's life, and it is so inspiring. It's just like resubmitting the fact that God is real. God is in control. God will reach people however he wants, however he needs. And when you see somebody respond to that, man, it's so inspiring.
The professions of faith at the youth baptism
Yeah.
the other night. Awesome. Right. Man,
You can't make it up.
Yep.
You can't write that stuff down. It talks about anxiety here. Casting all your anxieties on him. What verse is that? 7. Okay, so verse 6 before that. Humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of God, so that at the proper time he may exalt you, casting all your anxieties on him because he cares for you. Again, anxieties are not a thing that's not something that God gives us. It's our own human nature.
Yeah.
One thing John Delony says, psychologist, he's like, anxiety is not the problem. Anxieties are the alarm bells going off in your body that's just notifying you of the problem. And in today's society, anxiety is thrown around like crazy. Like we are the most anxious we've ever been.
Yep.
And people act like anxiety is the problem, and they act like it's a disability or a habilitating thing that doesn't let you live your life. And he's been saying something. He's like, how about we need to change the perspective. He actually wrote a book called Redefining Anxiety. He has another book called Building a Non-Anxious Life. Like he's a very good source to go to for these kind of things. But he's like, let's celebrate the fact that our body's alarms are working properly.
And if you're not a reader, get the audiobooks. He's wonderful. He reads his own books.
Yes.
And he is easy to listen to. Yes. He is fantastic.
And he's open about his own stuff.
Oh, yep.
But we're in a society where like we're looking at anxiety like it's the problem. It's not. Let's celebrate the fact that our bodies are functioning properly, and these alarm bells are going off saying, hey, alert, alert. Like, let's change some things in our life.
And I love it. He draws into community really hard. And he says, just go borrow a cup of sugar from your neighbor.
Yeah.
Doesn't care if that doesn't matter if you need it, but if you don't have, one of the things that just always strikes me about what he says in Non-Anxious Life is if you don't have somebody that you could call at 3 a.m, it's going to create anxiety.
Yes.
And that's one.
And that's what we're talking about here is community. Like if you don't have somebody in your life, likely you do, but maybe you're not admitting to yourself that person's actually there for you. Us guys think, oh, we got this. 3 o'clock in the morning. If something were to wake me up and I need to, I got this. No, look around your community. Get closer to the people that will respond to that. You do need that in your life. You need to be that for somebody in your life. And it's going to, like that community, that bond, that brotherhood is going to relieve some anxiety. Like I think we live in such a busy society that anxiety isn't going to go away. We're also humans. Anxiety isn't going to go away, but be responsive to it. Cast all your anxieties on him, it says, because he cares for you. We need to understand that. God doesn't want us to have anxious lives. That's not his purpose. That's not his design. He's asking you to give them to him.
And comfort in the Lord. Comfort in the Lord. I've been on that for a while now. I don't know what that looks like.
And does it require humility to ask for that cup of sugar from your neighbor?
Yeah,
the verse before this is all about humility. And I know I was reading a story about Benjamin Franklin. He was in a fight with some guy that I don't know if he was in Congress
Physical
or what.
fight?
No, like they were like enemies. Like,
Okay,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? Like they wrote articles against each other, whatever. Well, the way they became friends was he asked him for a favor. It's very hard. Your brain cannot be mad or disagree with somebody that asks you for a favor and you give them a favor. I just thought that was interesting. But what does that require? It requires some humility.
I need your help.
You know, and as Americans, like we are, number one, we are like self-sufficient and independent, but that does rob us of something.
Very
100%.
much.
And so often that independence and self sufficiency is antithetical to humility.
Yeah, it's good to be needed. It's good to need somebody.
Yep.
But at the same time, like we can't be reliant on other people for our happiness or like that's
No.
a role only Christ can fill.
Yep.
And I think sometimes in our marriages, like we rely on our spouses to fulfill our happiness or our kids. Like if you would just do this, I would be happy. They can't save you. You know, when we can, again, that's something that only Christ can fill. But I think you're right, John. Like I think talking about community, like it's good to be needed. It's good to be able to be there for somebody, but at the same time, it's actually a place of power to actually, maybe not a place of power. It actually shows power if you can be humble enough to ask for help.
Yeah. And try not to make it transactional. It's like, we had our neighbor plowed us out in this really bad snowstorm. And I'm like, we need to make him cookies or bread. Or like, I need to pay this guy back for this, you know?
Yeah.
It's hard to
those
receive.
IOUs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is an anxiety.
Yeah. Right. I think it is worth talking about that 5 that God opposes the proud and shows favor to the humble, because, I heard a pastor talk about this, it's like humility plus nothing in God's kingdom equals promotion. Like, think about that. He shows favor to the humble.
Yeah.
And he opposes the proud. I mean, just think about how foundational that is in our lives. And it's just, June is Pride Month. You know what I mean? Pride is not a sin anymore. It's something to be proud of. Right.
And I struggle. Like I have been thinking about that too, especially as our kids get older, like to tell them. I was texting Shane the other day, like telling him, I'm proud of you. And I'm like, is this a good thing? Is that a good thing to, because I was having that battle. I don't know. Like, is telling my son I'm proud of him. I want to pour into him. I want him to know that I am proud of him. But then you think of the word pride. Is that the right descriptive word to use in that sentence?
We were reading a book and it says, instead of saying I'm proud of you, say you bring me great joy.
That's great.
And
that's
so, cool. So that's what we do, because it says the only thing you should boast in is the Lord.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
We should say that to other people, like you bring me great joy.
We'll say it to our kids.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that also feels like it's a burden for them to bear in a way.
Yeah. And I will say, I still tell my kids I'm proud of them.
Yeah, I do.
But
I sent that text.
But what I'm saying is they also do bring me great joy when they do these things.
They do.
So can you maybe redirect it in a way? Because really everything in our culture is so geared towards pride. Like most of our marketing is it's appealing to some piece of pride or ego that you have. And so really, if God opposes the proud, and just think about who Jesus served when he was here. He literally could not do miracles with proud people. He couldn't really talk to Pontius Pilate. Like Pontius Pilate today would be like, I think, a typical well-off American person, but he can talk to the woman at the well that's outcast by society because she's a woman. She's a Samaritan. She's been married so many times. This is somebody we would not talk to.
Yeah. Yeah. That's another thing I've been thinking of. Like, it's easy for me to talk about my faith when I know the other person has a hint of Christianity in him. But to walk up to a stranger and to be an actual disciple of Christ, like that, I don't do well with that. But it's a humility thing. And then going back to, am I the John 18 Peter, or am I, which Peter am I? like just a little scenario the other day. Like I normally give thanks before I eat a meal, and I was eating with people that I knew didn't have a faith walk, and I had that battle in my head. Like, do I pray for my food? And then that realization hit me. Well, are you denying Christ or not? Like, I'm like, oh my, here we go, Peter.
Yep.
Like, it's so real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it says that if you humble yourselves under his hand, he will lift you up in due time. Mm-hmm. And that's another thing. It's not in your time.
Or our expectations.
How high
is Jesus going to live us?
It is in his due time.
Yeah.
And I was just reading something the other day about how Eve convinced Adam to eat the apple, told him it was okay. You know what I mean? It was okay. Sarah told Abraham to take Hagar, that it was okay. We are always, and I'm not blaming the wives here. The men agreed with them, but they were looking for somebody other than God to tell them,
yes,
this timing is okay. It's okay. We as men need to take the responsibility and say, wait a second, did God say it or did somebody else say it? And recognize that it's God's timing.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, look, we've waited too long for this child. Just take my slave. And then you get an Ishmael in your life.
Yeah.
Or, you know, hey, just take this apple. I think it's okay because I ate it. So you should too. No, we need to go to God, and we need to wait on his timing for these things.
Yeah.
And that's for me. That's what I'm dealing with.
Yeah, that's a good point. That almost goes back to that shameful gain.
Yes.
We can get into, we had a lot of discussion before we got on here about verse 8. Be sober-minded, be watchful. Your adversary, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion, seeking someone to devour. There's some pretty descriptive words in there that I think we just kind of pitter-patter around in today's society. The roaring lion, like we were talking about, like we see these safari videos of people driving around in the back of these safari trucks, like feet from these wild critters. It's like, man.
And the thing is, they look like your house cat. They operate like your house cat.
Yep.
They are not a house cat.
You get comfortable with that person. And I feel like that's how we are with the devil. Like, yeah, you can, you're all right there. You're fine. That's a safe distance. It's like, no, there's no safe distance from the devil. You can't get a distance great enough that's safe. But we just play around with sin like it's okay to have a little bit at a safe distance.
Yep.
Like, we got this.
And that's where you talk about never arriving.
Yeah.
Like, you have to be alert and sober all the time, especially as your walk deepens. As you are called to higher levels, you need to be more alert because you are going to be under attack, you know. And I think about Bobby saying how she was attacked even, you know, her mother bled a lot while she was pregnant. They didn't think she would make it as a baby, you know. She's been under attack her whole life. And like, I do see that even in my own kids, like, well, I think this one's got a special calling because of how much he's gone through, you know. Just be alert, be sober. Like, what does being sober mean to you? Like, it could mean like being off of your phone, or it could be not listening to a podcast and just driving down the road thinking about what does God have for me today.
That's a good point. Like, do you see sober-minded do you see screen time and phones as taking away from sober mind?
Yeah, I think for me it does. Like, that's like food and my phone is like where I go to escape. It's not alcohol, right? Yeah. Like, but you're always searching for that escape. And again, you got to shake hands with that suffering, or you can run away. And that running away is where you kind of into isolation, bitterness, addiction, whatever it looks like. And, you know, using your phone can be a good thing. Eating can be a good thing, but like, we can take anything and it can be the thing that we use to run away.
In NKJV, it says, be sober, be vigilant.
Yeah.
I love that word. Like, vigilant. What does that mean? And I mentioned earlier when we were talking before, it's like you said, you know, hey, little kitty, we'll pet the kitty. We'll even flirt with that sin or whatever it is in our lives. And elsewhere in the Bible, it says flee from sin. And
the words it uses against sin, we were talking about crucifixion, like to crucify your sin on the cross, to flee from sin.
Yeah.
Like, these are not tiptoe around it. Maybe let a little bit in the front door and it'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
It also says, be not deceived. Like the devil will deceive that it's okay. Like he will alter our mindset on sin.
Yep.
As much as he can.
Or he'll have somebody come in who has authority in your life and say, this is okay.
Yeah.
Like, Eve or Sarah, right?
Yeah.
Or our wives or be a boss or whatever. And then it's like, no, God did not say this.
Yeah.
And the word picture is awesome. As a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. It's like he's going to tear your arms off and tear your legs off and tear your head off. And he's like, it is brutal.
And do lions wait for their prey to die before they start eating them?
Nope.
It's interesting. So, Everly, I'm not sure how we got into the conversation, but our little 6-year-old girl was asking, she asked some question and it led Lindsay and I to try to explain like how the fall happened and how the devil was an angel, fallen from grace. And he was the one that wanted the glory and in that separation. And so, but just explaining that to her again was another realization to me, like who the devil is and how much evil he is seeking out. And it renewed the fear of the devil in my life, because you see tendencies in your own life when you see that fallen angel who wants the glory, who wants the validation, like all the things. I'm like, man, there's more of that in my life than I thought.
And it's great to even consider that the devil is an angel.
Yes.
Like wolf in sheep's clothing.
Yes.
It looks great. It looks awesome, but turn and run.
Yeah.
Sprint.
And I think you have to be careful too.
We learned a little bit about that this morning. We had a little thing to our workout. Again, Jay Kuhn, he just has these little tangents he goes on, and he brought up, I looked up the stat this morning and it said 95% of adults after 30 will never sprint in their life. Well, Jake brought that up the other week. So now we're sprinting in the morning, and that's a little different level.
Yeah, kind of like Dan's sprinting is a little different level than Jake and I sprinting.
It's still not pretty. Oh,
I feel like I'm sprinting until Dan sprints by.
I reached a level of tired this morning that I haven't been in a long time. It was good.
It was good.
So sprinting away from the devil.
Yeah.
And that's probably how most of us are in our spiritual life. Like we'll slowly jog at a comfortable pace away from the devil.
Yeah, we'll turn around and saunter away.
But
maybe.
Right? That ain't gonna save you.
But 8 and 9 they don't say to be anxious or afraid of the devil. They just say to be alert and like vigilant, and then to resist him.
Right.
And so I think there is a distinction there that, anxiety and fear, I feel like is worshiping the devil when you do that in your life. And so can we resist him and stand firm in our faith? Jesus says, Peter, the devil asked to sift you like wheat. And Jesus didn't say, but I asked the devil to not do that.
Yeah.
I asked the devil to take it easy on you. He said, I'm asking God to have you stand firm in your faith. And so we need to think about that approach that we take with that roaring lion. When you encounter a bear, do they tell you to run away as fast as you can? Or do they tell you to just stand there and make loud noises? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think what they tell me and what I'm actually going to do are going to be two completely different
I
things.
understand that. Well, and that's where you have to train yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I think we need to be really considering how do you stand firm and resist the devil? And it's not us doing it. It's God through us.
Yeah.
But like Moses had to have somebody hold up his hands when they were fighting below him in the valley. Sometimes you need somebody to hold up your hands, to stand firm.
What did you say earlier? Anxiety and fear are worshiping the devil?
They are, yeah.
What do you mean by that?
So anytime you're thinking and meditating on the fear, anxiety, terrible things that could happen, are you operating in faith that God has something good for you? Or is your imagination going, where could the devil, what's the worst thing that could happen? You know what I mean? It says to meditate on things that are pure, lovely, and good.
Yeah.
And think about what God's going to do, right? And I think that's what Peter's writing about here. is to be, just standing firm. And think about what he's went through, the beatings and all the stuff that he went through to suffer for through Christ.
Yeah.
And he's not afraid to go somewhere. Like he stands firm, but he also understands that the suffering is how you get there.
Yeah.
I think these are all muscles that we need to exercise too.
That's what I'm saying.
Like you have to get good at it. And it makes me think of jumping in the Rush River. We'll get a new person down, and then every time, like 15, 25 seconds, like it's just automatic. They just turn around and start walking out. It's just automatic. Right. But you have to get in that mental zone where you can defeat that, and that's just a perfect picture of what's going on.
Your body alarms are going off. Like,
your body alarm's going off, and you're like just going on. But in the spiritual battle,
like resisting it talks about resisting him. That's a hard thing to do consistently for a long time. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's why we get so wore out and wore down. We just want to be done, is like, because you're fighting.
Yeah.
But further on in that same verse, it says, knowing that the same kinds of suffering are being experienced by your brotherhood throughout the world. Like, again, that's why community is important. That's why we share this stuff. When you can talk about your struggles, the things going on in your marriage, the things going on in your parenting life, whatever it is, there is an encouragement that happens there. It's not like when you're around people that actually care, it's not a one-upping type thing. It's an encouraging, loving, yes, walking beside, fighting with them type mentality. Kind of like the Rush River, like when you're talking, and it's like I said, when you see a new somebody who's new in their faith, like how inspiring that is to me. When I'm sitting in that Rush River, I'm having the same mental battle that they are. But when you see somebody new for the first time come in that Rush River, I'm like, man, this is it. Like, this is awesome. Like,
and when you see that new person experiencing it, you're like, actually, I have gotten used to this.
Right.
I have gotten somewhere.
Mm-hmm. There is, even though it doesn't feel like it, there is growth.
Hard. Yeah, there's growth. Yeah.
It's what did you just say? It's an exercise.
Yeah. You got to exercise the muscles, and we need to exercise our spiritual muscles all the time. And if it's not for community, like I would fall all the time.
And what are your muscles? How are your muscles made? Right, they're made by tearing them apart, and then they heal and they become bigger. Think about that. That is faith, tearing things apart in your life, becoming stronger.
Maybe
it's the same thing.
Maybe it's in transaction with your wife. Maybe you have to grit your teeth and have a different response. But if you do it over and over again, eventually you're not going to have to grit your teeth anymore. You're just going to have a different response.
Going back to chapter 4, like as you guys are talking about that, he just says, but rejoice. Rejoice in these sufferings. And that's a very, very hard thing to do. But it's because you are getting stronger. Your resistance is getting stronger. And then the verses before that talk about be not surprised. Like we know how hard this life is. We don't know the battles we're going to face that are coming, but like if we can get to that mindset where we can rejoice in these sufferings, that is not a mindset of our human nature. That's a mindset of the Spirit. Yeah. And that's the only way we win that battle.
Yep. Yeah. Verse 9 is just amazing. I love it. Resist him steadfast in the faith, knowing that the same sufferings are experienced by your brotherhood in the world. Mm-hmm. Like we're all in the same boat.
Yeah.
And we all get drawn to isolation when we're struggling. And
I think it's for multiple reasons. Like I want to hear your guys' thoughts on why men isolate. Why that is that the tendency? Mm-hmm. I think it's a couple of reasons. Number one, I think there's some shame. Like we don't want to show our struggles. We don't want to show our weaknesses. I think that's where a lot of arguments come from with our spouses. I know for me, like when I get in an argumentative mode with my wife, it's because I don't want to show her my weakness. Mm-hmm. But I think there's shame in showing weakness and we're battling, so we pull away. I think we have this mindset of we got this, which I think comes from the devil. I think that's a way he deceives us is, no, you got this, you can beat this.
I think the mindset is you better have this or you have to have this.
Yeah. I don't need anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's weak.
Right. Yeah. So I think it's those two things. But in reality, like when we're in those battles, like when we can we can go to our brothers. And there's a brother right now who does that. He's in a battle, and he does a very good job of this, reaching out. He'll call me and just say like, man, I'm in a hard spot right now. I don't do that well myself. And every time he calls me or texts me or whatever it is, like it's an inspiration to me. I can feel the spirit in me being like proud of him, number one, wishing I had that. And also like, dude, I feel you. Like this isn't what it says here, that your brotherhood throughout the world is experiencing these things. I don't have the words to tell him that I'm with, like, I know that's from maybe not your specific situation, but I feel you in that. I don't know if you guys have any other thoughts on why people are isolated.
I think a lot of times it's, you don't want any accountability. Like I have seen in my own life, people that pull away, they're like, I know he's going to tell me that what I'm doing is wrong. And I don't want to hear that. Yeah. I just want to be in this. And then I think another thing is weakness. Don't want to show any weakness or any vulnerability because somebody could hurt me even more than I'm hurting. It's
kind of those past wound things. Like I've experienced this before. I kind of know where this is going and I can't go through another hurt again.
Yes. And I think why you like that guy calling you is man, I think guys miss this. The real strength of being a man is being vulnerable. That is the real strength. It takes a lot more strength to say, I'm sorry, and to be vulnerable and say, I'm hurting here, than to just say, hey, let's go have a beer and talk about the football game.
Yeah.
And it just comes out. You want to self-protect.
Yeah.
You don't want to get hurt. You don't want somebody to say you're doing something wrong.
Yeah. Those are hard things to hear. And a true friend will like hold you accountable. That's love.
And I think it's a real challenge to us, even in our group. Are we holding each other accountable when we see something? Or are we like, well, I want to self-protect that friendship. It might rock the boat if I say something.
It's so easy to have that response. Like when we show up in the morning, like you see them in the morning, like, how you doing? Yeah, I'm good. Are you really? Like, yeah. Did you go to bed arguing with your wife, or did you go to bed with a struggle of some kind? Yeah. It could, because that didn't change overnight. Like if you went to bed with that struggle, it's still there in the morning. Are you good? We don't do that well. I mean, I think in our close friend group, like I still think there's things that are,
and that's where you talk about layers. It's something to be aware of.
Yeah.
And the one other thing I was going to say is the devil really loves to shame the thing that's happened in your life that hurts you, but God wants to weaponize your story and encourage somebody else. Yeah. Because you said, like, you may not be going through what he went through, but you feel that sympathy. But when you have gone through something somebody else is going through, like I've been through divorce, child loss, like these really painful things. And so when somebody else is going into that season, I can speak to that with authority because I have gone through it. It's like if you served in the military and somebody else served in the military, you can speak to them in a way that I just can't. And so you need to be aware that thing that maybe the enemy is trying to shame you into not talking about or isolating, that is your platform that God is creating for you through suffering.
Yeah. Yeah, as hard as that is, it's important.
It's hard,
but
it's important to be aware of.
I keep thinking about just the phones and going back to the phones and just like the numbness people get. And it's chemical. Like as you feed your body those little hits of dopamine, it dulls everything else. Like
eating Oreos all day.
It changes your whole sense of joy for anything else.
I've never done that, but I feel like I want to try that.
Yeah. What was Jake talking about the other day? Like if you have a dessert, it's just like the first couple bites.
That's all you need, right?
That's all you need. That's the whole.
The rest of it is kind of just wash. It's
the whole
just
enjoyment.
Yeah.
But if you've ever like fasted from sugar and then you have like a carrot, you're like, this is so sweet.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I had a drink of soda the other day. Soda pop, Coke, whatever you want to call it from wherever you're at. And it was like a punch in the face. I was like, wow, why is that so sweet? Yeah. Yep. And then I've also heard people get more enjoyment out of planning a vacation and prepping and packing for a vacation than they do on the vacation itself. And I've noticed that in my life. Like once you're on vacation, Connors was talking about it, like when he went to a retreat, it's like, why am I not relaxed? You go on vacation, you're like,
Yeah.
Why is this not Instagram perfect? Like you're still living life, man.
Mm-hmm.
But the preparation for it is like where the most enjoyment and excitement comes from.
Yeah. You see those Disney ads with all the kids smiling.
Yeah.
And then you look around at Disney World and you're like, you guys sure paid a lot to be here and be crying.
Right. Yeah. His diaper's full.
Yeah.
He's throwing a fit. Yeah.
The line's 3 hours long.
Right. So, verse 10, and after you have suffered a little while, the God of all grace, who has called you to his eternal glory in Christ, will himself restore, confirm, strengthen, and establish you. I have a little note that I wrote in my Bible. Well, it's a question. And it says, in this life, ? Like, I don't think we're to be restored, confirmed, strengthened, and established in this life. Like, we'll have moments of restoration. We'll have moments of strength. But the goal is not to have all that glory in this life. And I think when Jesus walked this earth, that was kind of the expectation that he was going to overthrow the Roman government, and he was going to be the new king, and there was going to be peace on earth. There was going to be this new ruler that was going to save everybody. Well, yes, but not here.
Right.
And in conversation with somebody earlier this week, he's like, I think we get ourselves in the footprints of the disciples when they didn't realize that Jesus had to face the cross in order for the Spirit to come. We don't realize that we have to die on this life in order to receive that glory. But we do everything to protect.
Yep.
Protect.
And Peter got caught up in it by cutting off that guy's ear, right? He's like, I have to protect Jesus. And then Judas got caught up in it. Like, I believe I need to bring this about so that he comes into this, like, being a king, right?
Yeah.
I need to initiate this by turning him over, and he won't turn himself over to be killed. No, he'll become a king.
Yeah.
And so we need to be on guard of those things in our own life, that Jesus has got his own way, his own timing. His plan could be for you to be established in eternity or whatever. It doesn't have to be on this earth, but we can get so caught up. And like, my vision is it has to be this way, that we end up like Judas. That's not good. I mean, Peter got a second chance. It is still our choice.
Yeah.
I believe Judas could have got a second chance too.
Yeah.
But he was so wrapped up in it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, again, suffering. Like, they walked with him and still had these suffering.
It's interesting. There's a song that I listen to, and it's like, at least Judas traded Jesus for a bag of gold. We don't even trade him for that. I'll just slap me in the face.
What do we trade Jesus for on a daily basis?
Yeah.
And a lot of times as Americans, I feel like it's just discomfort. I feel like I'm supposed to talk to this guy. That would be uncomfortable. Not going to do it.
Yeah.
And somebody in the Middle East is like, well, I could get beheaded if I talk to this guy, and they'll do it anyways.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it's a battle. It's a daily battle, a daily reminder. We need to die to ourselves. And again, going back to marriage, like, Jesus asked us to love our wives like Christ loved the church. What that means, it's not the physical putting up of our human bodies. It's the suffering. Like, to watch the people you love turn your back on you and you still don't change your demeanor or your spirit or your heart for them. And that's something I'm working on in our own marriage. Like, when we have these disagreements, can I disagree with my wife? Can she say something to me that is against my will? Not that my will's right, but like, she has a different perspective. And can I, in the exact same moment, love her anyway? Or do I do something like, I'm just, walk out of the room or whatever it might be, something small, something simple, just get this selfish child in me again. That's what Jesus did on the cross. Like, man, he was crucified. Like, the people, Peter denied him, and then he went to die for him. Yeah. It's a whole nother level of realization.
That's just our bent. If somebody hurts us, we want to hurt them back.
Or even gossip about it.
Yeah.
Or, I mean,
that's still hurting. Like,
justify. Yeah.
That's still hurting them back.
Yeah.
You're going to tell everybody else how wrong they are.
Right.
So if it's not hurting them physically, you're going to hurt their reputation or lash out in some way, not turn the other cheek.
Yeah.
Not just show show grace and show love.
Love. Yeah. It's a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think we should probably wrap it up, but keep battling.
Well, let's not glaze over 11.
James bringing us back.
To him be the glory and the dominion forever and ever. Amen.
Amen, brother. Appreciate that. Amen. We were out this morning, just getting out on the run. I mean, the first step's out and we look up and I just heard James like laugh. It was when the sun was coming through the clouds. Like, it was just that, like, like, look at that. Like, it was just your realization of how good God is.
Yeah.
And again, something that brought.
It was like the picture that you see of Jesus, and there's like the rays of sunshine intermittent above his head.
Yeah, it was gorgeous.
It was awesome. It was
beautiful.
just like that, shining up above us through the trees. It was cool.
Yeah, we live in a beautiful spot. And as I was running, I'm like 2 months ago, we were on the podcast complaining about how cold it was outside. Now the air is so thick, I got to chew it before I swallow it. And it's hot. Yeah, I mean, it's really not that hot yet. It's only
16,
June, but yeah. I am a weak-minded individual is what I'm getting at.
We're all getting stronger.
Yes, right. Rejoice in the suffering.
Yes.
But yeah, we just want to encourage people. Again, Fruits of the Foundry, it's a cycle of life. You're going to be sharpened. You're going to be shaped. We all are. It's hard to find.
And often it's shaped through suffering.
Yes. Yeah.
It's through it, not avoiding it. It's through it.
Yeah, that sharpening process is a brutal thing. There's sparks, there's flame, there's heat. It's pounding. It's brutal. But we have a purpose. God's got a purpose for us. It's going to be against our human nature. It's going to be against our human desires, but there is a purpose there. And it's for a glory that's beyond this earth. And just appreciate our own community. I mean, it's the guys that we walk with that are so inspiring to me. If you do find yourself, maybe like, I like what you brought up. Like if there's not somebody you can call at 2:00 in the morning, maybe you need to dig into that a little bit. Be somebody that somebody can call at 2:00 in the morning. Not that those things are common, but it's just good to have people like that in your life that you can go to for help and be vulnerable, open up. There's always another layer that you can open up and really be vulnerable with someone. There's great strength and encouragement in that. Peter obviously struggled with that. It was something that was real for him. And that hasn't changed in our life here today.
And when you're vulnerable, like it's so hard to break that. But when you cross that line in vulnerability and open up that other layer, you're lightening another man's yoke. You're lightening another person's yoke so much by letting them know that it's okay to struggle. It's okay to talk about that struggle, that hurt, whatever that may be, that sin that you're dealing with. And it's awesome when you can eclipse that plane.
Yeah. Yeah. It's another level of trust that you can have there. Yeah. We need more of that. Yeah. Do you mind closing us in prayer, James?
Sure. Dear God, thank you for your words this morning, Lord. Thank you for this plan that you have, and thank you for the parts that we get to play, Lord. Help us play them well. God, help us have grace in our interactions with one another, especially with our spouses and our children, Lord. And God, just watch over us as we go forward and help us strive through the foundry of life, God. Help us be meek and have power under control, God. Help us be humble and not boastful, Lord. And just want to pray for all our brothers and sisters in Christ as we move forward throughout this week. And just pray that we can encourage one another in every possible moment, Lord. In Jesus' name, amen.
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 One other thing I want to bring up, and I did want to thank you, like for the podcast world, my oldest son got his driver's license this week, turned 16, driver's license. And that was a big realization for me. Yesterday, I watched him leave the house before I left the house early in the morning and watched him drive out. And it hit me like, I'll never have little boy Shay again. But not that our future isn't going to be awesome. Like we're going to have some amazing times that are going to likely be better. But But he bought a car and then he had to fix it. And I told him to call James, and James was like, yeah, send him over. And he spent like the majority of the day.
Oh yeah. It was 9 to 3:30, 4 o'clock before it was pretty late when he left.
Yeah.
What was wrong with it?
Wheel bearings and a tie rod end.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's had any experience doing that.
No, he's not.
And I just walked over there and pointed to some stuff. And
but that again, a reason why community is so well. Like I'm not a mechanical guy, but James lives down the road, and it's so awesome when you can have an individual like James where I can send my 16-year-old boy out, don't have to worry about it, and I know that he's going to get poured into over there.
Yes.
I know,
and not just about the vehicle getting fixed.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like the education on the mechanic side is one thing, but listening to another individual that's not his dad pour into him, and Shaden can watch how James goes about his daily life and just who James is, be around that. He's going to pick things up from James that he can't pick up from me. And that's true for, wherever he goes when he's around good people. So I want to say thank you for that.
Yeah.
It's a huge
That's
thing.
the other huge
him.
benefit of community around here. Like our kids, it's awesome. And it's everywhere. Like it's one of my kids' baseball coach is a great man, and I know him pretty well. He comes rucking.
Yeah.
And he's my kid's baseball coach, and I can drop him off and have 100% trust.
Right.
And then my other kid's baseball coach is someone who's a great friend of people that I know and trust and love. Mm-hmm. And man, it's awesome. Yeah. It's awesome to have community like that where you can feel just 100% comfortable about.
You can trust them because they're a praying individual where their heart, that they're going to God for the answers. And it's just a level of trust. And that's one thing I asked Shaden. This was back when he was in middle school. I just asked him, what do you think is the best part about living in a small town? And that's what he said. He's like, my pastor is my football coach. And Todd's no longer coaching middle school. Todd's got enough going on. But at one point, Todd was the football coach. And I'm like, to hear that from your 13, 14-year-old boy, I was like, that's hitting the nail on the head.
They want consistency. Yeah. They want stability. They want those things.
Yeah. So thanks for that.
Yeah. Absolutely. It was my pleasure.
Yeah.
It was good hanging out with him yesterday. It was fun.